Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope we are all well. Thank you very much for tuning in. This video is the 6th and final video in our Aerosoft CRJ tutorial series, following along with volume 3 of the documentation supplied with the add-on. In this video we are going to taxi back to the gate or stand here in Munich and shut down the aircraft fully to a cold and dark state. So you join me here on taxiway Alpha 8 as this is where we departed at the end of last episode after a fairly decent touchdown, and we are here on the taxiway here. It's advisable to actually stop here fully for this tutorial just so you can familiarize yourself with the checklist and make sure you get everything shut down correctly. Okay, so let's first of all start the APU. Hit the power button as before, and you can see the APU appears here. APU in byte and shut-off valve open. Once the APU in byte message has disappeared, we can then hit start stop, and that will spool up fairly quickly. Next, we want to set our transponder now to standby. As per the tutorial, this is on the checklist. However, in a large airport like Munich, you would probably leave this to 1 until you're at the gate. Whilst we're down here, we can also remove the DME hold as part of our cleaning the cockpit procedure. And then next of all, we want to just make sure all of our flaps are now retracted. So we'll go up to the flaps selector and, and we'll come around here and set this to 0. You can see the flaps retracting there on the wing. Great stuff. Okay, and then we'll set our lights as required. So we're going to turn our landing lights off. We'll leave the taxi lights on for the taxi in, and we'll turn the strobe lights off. And that is all required. That's all we require for the taxi in. We'll turn our probes off now, as well as the anti-ice. Okay, so we actually left the runway at the taxiway that's actually noted in the tutorial here, which is Alpha 8. So we can follow the taxi clearance as noted on the tutorial, which is Alpha 8, Mike, Alpha 8, November, November 4, and Delta 6. That'll take us to stand 581. Okay, so that's the after landing checklist completed. Let's taxi on to stand. As you can see, this is all completed. So we'll leave our shutdown checklist there for when we get to stand. And let's release the parking brake. And we can get underway here. Whilst we are taxiing in as well, you may want to just clean up a few other aspects of the aircraft. So you may want to just turn off the approach mode that we had on for the arrival. Little pro tip as well, you can use the checklist here for the approach and final, as well as the after takeoff, although it is a touch difficult to see. We can also hide the MDA as well, no longer required. Put the AP disconnect switch back to its normal position. And we can turn the flight directors off as well. So we're just taxiing in here. As you can see, we're on Alpha 8. We're going to stay on here until we get to Mike, which is to the right here. You can see November is the next one, so we want to take this right turn just here. And then, in fact, the taxiway instruction is Alpha 8 Mike, Alpha 8 November. So it actually wants us to go all the way up here. Excuse my bad taxiwaying. Munich is not an airport I land at that frequently. This is one of the main challenges I think I find with flight simulation, especially when flying on VATSIM. Obviously in a normal scenario, in real life, you would have someone else to basically do the guidance for your taxi, and you would have to just do the turning. However, in Flight Simulator, you have to do it all yourself, as well as all the checklists. So it can be a bit of a challenge, I find. It's always a bit of fun. Okay, so we are going to take a left here. Slow down to just under 10 knots. Pulling into this absolutely fantastic scenery by Simwings and Aerosoft of Munich. Absolutely love it. I just think it is one of the most stunning airport add-ons, and just because of the sheer scale of it, it's an absolutely enormous airport, so it's just an absolute feast for the eyes. Okay, we're just going to close our eyes as we taxi straight through this fuel truck here. I'm sure this would not end well in real life, but if you played Microsoft Flight Simulator before, you'll know this is an unfortunate, fairly a common occurrence. So we're going to just ignore that. Now next we want to be going down Delta 6 here, which is the blue line, so we're going to follow that. Taking in the views of Munich Airport. It's very quiet here today. Obviously COVID-19 has hit the world very hard, especially the world of aviation. Not too many aircraft around. Okay, so we're reaching our parking spot here. It's just going to be around the corner here to the left. As we reach our parking spot, we want to turn off the taxi lights to make sure we don't blind any ground crew that are stood waiting for us at the gates. Make sure the APU is on and available, which it is. So we are going to now swing in for this parking stand. We should see the yellow line just here. So I'll make sure we get nice and slow. And we'll just start swinging it in. Maybe just need a little bit of extra power to overcome this tight turn. And we just want to let it roll on to the stop bars here. Okay, there we go. Let's make sure the parking brake is applied now. There we go. That is set. So we can now go ahead and run the shutdown checklist. So first item is to set the chocks and brakes, which we have just done. We can also go to the EFB here, go to aircraft, and set the wheel chocks here. Now that these are set, we can actually go back down and deactivate the parking brake. That is good and done. We'll now complete our fuel and check valve test as we did on our departure. Except this time we'll do it with the opposite engine. So what we need to do for that is, first of all, we're going to deactivate the thrust reversers, as they need to be off for when we turn the engines off. We're going to press the red tab and bring the right engine back to the shut-off position. Now we'll go over to the overhead panel and turn both fuel boost pumps off. We'll go here, and this time we're going to see right fuel low pressure, which is good. So the fuel and check valve test is completed for that engine. We can now go ahead and shut off engine 1. Now going to the overhead panel, let's turn the seat belts off. We'll make sure our anti-ice is off. So we'll turn our windshield anti-ice off. The probes we already turned off, and the rest of the anti-ice is already off. Now that the seatbelt signs are off and the engines are spooled down, let's open the doors. Let's go back to the overhead panel and make sure the fuel boost pumps are off, which they are. We just turned them off for the valve test. That is good. We'll turn all hydraulic pumps off except for 3 alpha. And we can now turn the beacon light off as well. We should only now be left with the nav and logo lights. We can also now turn off the nose wheel steering switch, and that is now off. So that should be our shutdown checklist completed. That is good to go. And at this point, you would wait for the passengers to disembark and continue with the terminating check, provided this wasn't a turnaround. So we are going to continue with that now. So the chocks and brakes are in and off. The IRS we can now turn to the off position. Thrust levers is the next item, which is already solved. The thrust levers are off. The emergency lights can now come off as well. You can also turn off the no smoking signs. The windshield anti-ice is already off. The aft cargo switches are in the off position already. Hydraulic pumps, we'll just turn 3 alpha off now. External lights, we can turn off the logo and nav lights as well now. APU, we could power that down now, but I'm going to leave that on till the end as we don't have external power here. DC service switch is already off. The dome light we never turned on, and everything else is shut down as it should be. So we can now turn the APU off. We'll wait for that to spool down. We can also turn our packs off as well. That's not part of the checklist, but we can turn those off. Now that the APU is spooled down, we'll turn that off completely, and you should see door closed here. And everything is looking pretty much like it did when we first turned the battery on when we started this tutorial. Okay, final thing is just to turn the battery off. And that's completion of the flight. There is a little delay when you click continue here, and we'll just wait for that. Okay then, so there we go. The aircraft is shut down in more or less a completely cold and dark state. Well, it is cold and dark as it was when we first started the tutorials. It's been an absolute pleasure recording these for you guys. I've really enjoyed it. I really enjoy flying this aircraft, and I hope you guys will too. And there are quite a few little things that we didn't cover in this tutorial that I would advise you to take a look into. For example, we've got the heads-up display that's not covered in this tutorial. You can have a look into that. It's pretty cool, and there is a control panel here for it as well. So you can customize that a little bit and have a good play around. I believe there are a few other cool little features, like, for example, the volume on the radios. They do actually function, so you can turn the ATC up and down at will, which is a really cool feature. I've not seen that one before in this simulator. And just in general, just dive into this aircraft and enjoy it. There's some features in the FMS as well and the CDU that we didn't look into as well. But I'm not going to overload you with a load of information at the end of the video. We've now got all the passengers off board, and we are going to leave it there. So I want to give a big thank you to Aerosoft, who provided me with a preview copy of this aircraft to make these videos for you guys and have them ready for you on release. And I want to give a big thanks to you guys. If you've watched the tutorials through from the start, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Hope you found it informative and useful. And I will see you guys in some more videos, hopefully. I've got a ton of CRJ content coming, and hope you guys will stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you want to see videos for the CRJ. And let me know what you thought of this series. Leave me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and let me know in the comments. If you've got any questions as well, feel free to let me know. There's probably some things that maybe I didn't explain to my best ability in the heat at the moment. So let me know if you've got any questions, and I will get back to you in the comments. So once again, big thanks to everyone involved here and for you guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video. But that's bye for now.